Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Each year, the members of the Guild of Fine Food Committee vote for the individual to be presented with its Lifetime Achievement Award. The person honoured must have made an exceptional contribution to our trade, either as a fine food retailer, a producer, or a wholesaler. This year, our committee has excelled itself. Our recipient this evening is a fine food retailer, a fine food wholesaler, and a fine food producer, all at the same time. And this is going to keep you guessing a while. And you could also add into it a global exporter to that list of accomplishments. But firstly, let's examine the genesis of this fine food business. And perhaps the most telling fact is that after university, our honoured guest's apprenticeship was served in marketing and brand management at Spillers, the flour millers and bakers, a clue perhaps to what comes later. This was followed by almost 2 decades as a high-flying account manager and later board director at 2 major London advertising agencies, Ogilvy and Mather and BMP, handling a host of blue-chip accounts including Rowntree and Hellmann's Mayonnaise. Our guest this evening, who I should inform you at this stage is a lady, was developing skills that would prove invaluable when it came to running her own business. By the late 1980s, her first husband opted for redundancy in preference to relocation to Scotland, and he opened a cheese shop in Corsham, Wiltshire. It struggled a little. The position was not good, and footfall was poor, but it survived through wholesaling cheese to local hotels and restaurants. Around the same time, his wife was tiring of the London commute from the West Country and maybe even the 3-hour expense account lunches, and decided to cash in her shares in BMP and open a second cheese shop, but this time in a location where heavy footfall would be guaranteed. Defying all logic of the time, but resting on the marketing skills accumulated over 2 decades, she opened the shop bang opposite a large Waitrose store. She was confident that having completed their bulk shop in the supermarket, discerning shoppers would walk across the road to buy her cheese. Boy, was she right. So right, in fact, that she ended up serving full-time in the shop herself simply because she'd forgotten to recruit sufficient staff to serve the volume of customers coming streaming through the door, and she loved it. She became a sponge, absorbing every morsel of cheese knowledge she could, meeting and talking with the emerging band of British artisan cheesemakers developing their skills during the early 1990s. She bucked the trend. She bought directly from them, from producers largely unknown at the time, but familiar to us all nowadays. She expanded sales of artisan cheese through wholesale delivery, first into local hotels and restaurants, and then to an ever-growing number of UK independent retailers, mainly because she was, and still is, a small independent retailer herself. She understands better than any other wholesaler what they go through. But ladies and gentlemen, the lady we honour this evening is particularly strong-minded and holds little sympathy for cheeses with additives. Wensleydale with cranberries will never feature on her counter. She prefers adding flavours through the accompaniments to cheese, which is why she developed a range of top quality own brand crackers, which quickly became fast sellers in her own shop and a host of delis and farm shops around the UK and increasingly across continental Europe. In 2006, Ashbourne Biscuits, the company baking her own label biscuits, was unexpectedly put up for sale. She, along with her second husband and business partner John, showed little hesitation in placing themselves in hock to the bank right up to the hilt to buy a bakery they never really intended to own. The retailer, who had become a wholesaler and an exporter, was now a fine food producer too. The gamble paid off through good products, clever marketing, and an enormous amount of hard graft. Over the years, I've watched the way this lady operates on her stands at trade shows in the UK and on the continent. She's a real professional. More recently, her business has pushed the boundaries of export to encompass 45 different countries, including Japan, Uruguay, Kazakhstan, the USA, and even France, which she admits remains one of her proudest achievements. Her own brand, she claims, will never be sold in supermarkets. It would be a betrayal of trust if, having pitched your brand as solely for independence, our fine cheese company biscuits ended up in a supermarket. For that reason alone, this lady deserves our award. But she is so much more. This evening, we acknowledge a high-class cheese retailer, a fine food wholesaler, a top-quality biscuit producer, and a worldwide food exporter. Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to please be upstanding for the recipient of the 2015 Guild of Fine Food Lifetime Achievement Award, Anne-Marie Dyas.
I just want to say the most extraordinary thank you. I'm totally shocked. I was sort of sitting there thinking, God, who's this? Oh, Christ, it's me. And if I died tonight,
Which you're not going to.
I cannot think of a better eulogy. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Well done, you. Well done.
I'm in total shock because I wasn't expecting it. But it's probably the greatest honour you could ever receive in this kind of business, because we are in a specialist business, an artisan food business, and it's just an extraordinary accolade. And I feel very emotional and very overwhelmed. This is the finest business you could ever be in. That whole sort of attempt to be the very best that you can be, I think it's sort of a ribbon through all of us that really care about good food. So to continue to persevere that dream, to pursue that dream, is worth a huge amount. And I think everybody that is interested in food should commit themselves to making it as best as they can be. Thank you, Great Taste. I could not be happier.